back in Outriders Worldslayer beta, the undisputed king of DPS when it came to AP builds was clearly the Technomancer AP turret build. And I do have a build of that on my channel, so check it out. However, once release came, the Nerf bats, they came a-swinging and they swung hard. But ladies and gentlemen, I've got good news for you because today I'm here to present to you the new and improved Technomancer AP build. It is my heavy ordnance build. This build destroys everything. Dare I say it's better than the pre-nerf previous setup. And I feel confident saying it is the best AP build period in Outriders. Now why? Number one, insane DPS. Anything it touches, it kills. Doesn't matter if it's monsters, if it's range units, if it's flying, everything melts. Number two, it's tanky and mobile. Number three, there is no downtime on your DPS. You don't have to worry about blighted rounds maybe dropping off and losing a huge amount of your damage. You're gonna be keeping all of your buffs up pretty much 100% of the time. And then finally, it's beautiful in both single player as well as co-op. In co-op, because we don't rely on blighted rounds, we don't have to worry about kill shots. It is super group friendly. You're going to be able to carry all your friends once you develop this build. This is the build for you if you want to crush everything. Now do note, big disclaimer here. On this character, I am currently Apocalypse tier 24, and that equates to level 59 gear. My gear is maxed out for level 59, so when you watch this footage in the background right now, what you want to focus on is the kill speed, not necessarily numbers. If somebody shows you a build and it's level 70, the numbers are going to exponentially increase, and so it's not going to be a fair comparison. Down the line, I will make a max level build for this, but for now, just please keep that in mind. Enjoy the footage, and right after this short footage, I'm going to go ahead and give you all the breakdown for the build. If you enjoy this information, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, smash that notification bell to be notified on future Outrider content. And now, enjoy. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that footage. Now let's get right into the nitty gritty. We're going to go over everything as always, skills, skill trees, gear, etc. And we are going to start with the skills. There's a big change since the beta. We really are going to lean in heavily on cryo turrets being the king of our DPS. Now the blighted turret and the pain launcher are going to be mainly stat sticks. They are going to apply some debuffs, which is great, but really we're going to be using them to refresh our buffs to maximize our anomaly power so that we can maximize the damage that we get from our cryo turrets. Now we have also optimized our passive skill tree. Now in my previous turret build, we sacrificed some offensive nodes so that we could do a hybrid build and get to overclocked. Didn't like it. We lost too much DPS. So we are going back to a traditional build, going down Demolisher, and we're coming up here only to pick up Gadgeteer. What's important here is we're going to be able to keep up Tech Bond up 100% of the time. In the past, this was tricky with this kind of build because it was hard to get one of your ordnance abilities that you want to use under 10-second cooldown. But we're going to take a look at those abilities and our cooldowns in just a second. But we're going to keep Tech Bond up for 50% anomaly power. We are also going to keep Adrenaline Antenna up. This is another 30% anomaly power. These are both huge. Otherwise, we are going to be picking up all the resistance piercings. We're going to be picking up all of the AP nodes. Those are all huge. And again, we come up here just for Gadgeteer. Now, I do want to point out that as you approach max level with this build, what's going to end up happening is just from your gear, your cooldown reduction is going to get really, really high. You may at that point be able to get rid of these 2 nodes and replace them with potentially 2 DPS nodes. Maybe you're going to increase your toxic duration on enemies. Maybe you'll pick up Vitality Magnet and Emergency Transfusion for better survivability. I mean, you can get creative with that if you wish at that point. But during lower levels, this is the setup you want. And as I was talking to you about just a moment ago, when you make those changes, they're going to depend on your cooldown. Look at these crazy cooldowns. We already, even at the level that I'm at, a level 59 gear, we got our cryo turrets down to 9.3 seconds. That's amazing. Our pain launcher is 6.1 seconds, which is ridiculous. We may actually be able to get rid of one of our mandatory mods in a few levels. And our blighted turrets are a disgusting 3.5 seconds. Now for the Pax Tree, there's no surprises here. We are going initial striker, which is fine. A nice boost to anomaly power. Lethal devices is still the king here. This got nerfed by 50%. It used to be 10% anomaly damage whenever this procced. Now it's 5%. Don't worry, it's still amazing in this build. We'll get a little bit of healing from Painkiller. Now permanence is also amazing because all your skills are going to be applying toxic. So even though your blighted turrets and your pain launcher aren't going to be doing a lot of damage, they're still going to be applying these toxic debuffs, and this is going to cause you to proc other debuffs on enemies. This is phenomenal. And then finally we have Dissection. Again, this got nerfed. It used to be 10% more damage to enemies for every status inflicted on them. Now it's 5%. Don't worry, still is a nice, sick, disgusting buff. So by far, this is the way we want to go. Now, of Ascension, I'm not even close to done. What you're going to want to do is you want to get anomaly power maxed out. You're going to want to get anomaly damage maxed out. Then we're going to go status power. And then you're going to want to get resistance piercing. As you get certain mods, including one that I don't currently have, I'll show you the one you're going to want to aim for. This is going to be very important. We want to make sure we get your resistance piercing to 40% because that's going to equate to 20% more anomaly power, which is going to be hundreds of thousands of anomaly power at higher levels. Now, once you get these completed, you have 2 options where you can go. You're going to want to get damage against elites and also cooldown reduction. Getting those cooldown reductions really nice and high is going to allow you to basically swap out some of the modifications that you're going to see, not only on your gear, but you're going to also, as mentioned before, going to be able to make some adjustments to the passive skill tree to squeeze out that extra bit of DPS out of this build. Now let's talk gear, and I do have a little transmog here that I created, so keep that in mind. I'm going to mouse over the gear and weapons, so keep in mind the name here. So our weapon, the one and only gun we ever want and ever need, is Final Penance. And this is important because the big winner here for us is Mage's Rage. It's going to be amazing. You're going to be stacking 40% extra anomaly power whenever you're fighting any elites or bosses. Most of the time this will be overkill, but this is something that's going to be huge for the build. We're going to combo that with Fortress, an extra 20% damage, and that's flat damage, so it's going to help with your turrets as well. And then Omen is an icing on a cake. This got major nerfed. So this used to be 30% damage applied, extra damage taken by enemies when this debuff is applied. Now it's 10%. Don't worry. It's still amazing, and it's just another way to stack extra damage that your turrets are going to be doing. Now do note, on your Final Penance, all you need on your third mod is to either roll Omen or Fortress, and then you're going to just apply the opposite one to that second slot. So it's still kind of tough to get, but not nearly as hard as you think. All right, next let's go ahead and take a look at the gear when it comes to armor. So we're going to start with the Anomaly's Visage here. Now I do want to point out that with any of the armor pieces, there are going to be 2 elements that can roll differently, or you can manually roll differently. So you'll notice here the power assimilation. This is adjustable. In your third mod, in my case Tainted Blood, that rolls randomly. So you could find Tainted Blood, for example, anywhere else on any other pieces of gear, and that'll be fine. You need to make sure that across all of your pieces of gear, you kind of have a combination of the modified elements. So for example, it could be something as simple as you get Anomaly's Visage, and it happens to roll with Power Assimilation in the third slot. If that happens, no problem. Simply put Tainted Blood in slot 2 where Power Assimilation is now. So that's just something to keep in mind. So you don't have to get exactly the pieces just like this, but as long as you cover the major mods, you'll be good to go. So again, this piece is great. You get a ton of anomaly power that's basically always active from the two main mods. And Tainted Blood is huge, even though it's got nerfed from 25 to 16%, because you're going to be applying blood constantly. Remember, Omen applies bleed when you hit anything with it, and then just your Pax Tree features are going to make it that you're going to be randomly applying bleed as well. For the chest piece, we're going with Technomonger's vest. Do note, I have this transmog to look differently, so don't be kind of taken off guard here, because the main set doesn't look so hot. So with this, the main thing we care about here, it comes with increased damage for the cryo turrets. That's huge. And I put Captain Hunter on here. Now, this is the one piece I've been trying to roll differently. Unfortunately, I've just had the worst luck finding a chess piece. So, Cannonade's okay, but again, we don't care about DPS. So let me show you the mod that optimally we would want to find on this, and which is my goal. So the mod you want is this one right here. It's called Unstoppable Force, and you increase your anomaly power by 50% of your resistance piercing. In this build, you are going to have 40% resistance piercing when you're done. So this will give you an extra 20% anomaly power. What this translates to is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of anomaly power towards the end game. So if you thought I killed things fast already, you haven't seen anything yet. Once I get this on board and replace the Cannonade, it's going to get even crazier. Now the legs are Technomonger's leg armor. And again, big thing here, this is all about buffing your turrets. It comes with improved coolant, so doubles the fire rate of your deployed turrets. And we're going to put double trouble on there. So again, each turret has 2 barrels instead of 1. So if you do the math here, between these two mods, you're basically doing 4 times the damage baseline already with your turrets. This means you're hitting more enemies more often, proccing more debuffs, and also you're swapping over from enemy to enemy faster as you kill them. It's a game changer. And then we also roll Virulent Compound. This is a new mod, and it's very, very good for mobbing. You're going to get 10% more damage against elites that have toxic on them, in our case, which is nice because, again, we mainly want to make sure we're min-maxing damage on our elites. Everything else dies really fast. But also what's great is when this is applied and they die, they blow up. And it does a moderate amount of damage, but it tends to do enough to sometimes either kill the small enemies, or worst case scenario, it's going to spread the toxic if they don't already have it on them. And that's a nice little bonus. Now next we have the gloves, and we use Plague Sower's hands. So for these, they have status power, which is nice. The close range isn't that useful, obviously, since we're not going for a firepower build. But this comes with Euthanizer. We put twins on here. You could get any other type of gloves, since it's not part of a set, and as long as you have status power and one of these two on here, Euthanizer or twins, so you can apply the other one, you're going to be good to go. And what's also very important is we want to get arms and anomaly. Critical shots increase your anomaly power by a ton. So at my current level, it's 142,000 plus for 6 seconds, and there's a 6-second cooldown. So this is something that basically every 6 seconds or so, you're going to need to be critting. You're going to be doing this anyway because you're going to be stacking Mage's Rage. So this is phenomenal because everything is toxic on it. Obviously, you're going to get all the bang for your buck from your Euthanizer as well. Then we have the boots, and this is the third piece of the Technomonger's foot gear. It's going to give us that 3-piece bonus. Remember, so now using turret skills increases turret damage by 10%, stacks up to 5 times. Each one lasts 10 seconds. This is one of the reasons why we want our cooldown so low, so you can spam those multi-turrets often so that you keep this maxed out at 50% damage as often as possible. In addition, we have 2 other major mods here. Shatter is big. You're going to actually be freezing things a lot with this build because you're going to have a lot of status power, and you're going to be randomly applying the freeze effect based off your turrets, your cryo turrets having cryo damage and toxic damage. And very importantly, Hail Shot is huge because it's going to take and give you an additional bonus to turret damage based off your status power. Normally, status power only affects damage over time effects and increases debuff durations like stunts and so forth, but this now makes your turrets even deadlier. And then the bonus mod is a mod that you may not need in late game when your cooldown reduction gets really high. But in the early to mid game, this is crucial because it's going to lower the cooldown of your Reign of Pain or of your Pain Launcher by 35%. Why is this important? This is important because the cooldown on Reign of Pain, or rather on a Pain Launcher, is pretty high, and you need to get it under 10 seconds. Why do we need to get it under 10 seconds or right around 10 seconds? That's because of the skill tree, or rather the class tree. As you notice here, Tech Bond activating ordnance skills increases nominal power by 50% for 10 seconds. If your cooldown is above 10 seconds, you cannot keep 100% uptime for this, and that's a pain. Remember, we do not use this ability, this skill rather, to do damage. We're just using it to drop it down, get this 50% buff. If it hits something, awesome. If it applies some dots, awesome. That's all icing on the cake, but it's pretty much all about that 50% anomaly power bonus. So that's everything with the gear. Now again, do note that I went over one gun. This build does not require any other guns. You're going to be using your final penance and applying that fortress as much as possible for that flat 20% damage buff, the Mage's Rage, and then tagging any priority targets with Omen. So really no reason to be swapping off this gun because your main goal is to min-max the damage that you do of your turrets, and these three mods do that absolutely perfectly. And as a cherry on top, you get some skill life leech. All right, finally, let's talk about strategy of how to play this. And it's super easy. So all you're going to do is anytime you're about to enter an encounter, you're going to go ahead and drop Pain Launcher, activate that 50% anomaly power buff, drop your Blighted Turret. Again, that's going to give you an additional 30% anomaly power buff. So that's 80% right there. Then go ahead and spam both of your Cryo Turrets, and then take your gun, aim at something, and start shooting it. You want to get headshots, obviously for Mage's Rage, but you also want to make sure you just get your Fortress proc. That you don't need to crit on. Within a second, you basically only have to hit something 3 times, super easy. Get that full buff. It's going to increase your armor, your resistance, and your damage. And basically rinse and repeat. Whenever any of the abilities are on cooldown, you want to spam them. Remember, Pain Launcher, because again, it's going to refresh the anomaly power buff. Same with Blighted Turrets. And the reason you want to keep spamming Cryo Turrets is because you need to get that 5 count of turrets across Cryo Turret and Blighted Turret so that you can get that 50% damage to turrets bonus. Maintain that as key, and then in between those cooldowns, just shoot stuff. Alright guys, there you have it. The ultimate AP Techno build, period, bar none. It's fun, it's deadly, it's effective. What do you think of it? Even at this level where I can, as you saw, potentially have 2 more upgrades that I could put into the build, it's already absolutely devastating. Try it out. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you have any other recommendations for upgrades? And if you do try it out, is it as fun and effective for you as it is for me? As always, if you did find this helpful, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, check me out live on stream. My URL is twitch.tv/LeeroyGamingStream. And of course, subscribe and smash that notification bell to be notified when new videos drop. Alright guys, as always, thank you for all the support. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm going to be away on vacation the next couple days, but I may have a surprise or two down the line, and I will be back otherwise for more regular content later next week. Alright guys, have a great one. See you in the next one.